guys. We are back again with another story time for my bedroom. Happy New Year's, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I hope everything goes the way that you want it to go in 2022. I'm just so thankful to not have got COVID last year. That's my thankful here. So we are back again for another story time. Guys, I'm so sorry I missed Friday. I got super busy. Didn't have time to record on Thursday night to be able to post on Friday. But nevertheless, we are here. So go ahead and click the bell for notifications. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already subscribed to the channel. And give the video a thumbs up. So last video I talked about was the dog. Snoopy Dog, honey, how I got drugged for filth. So now I have mentioned that I would tell another dog story. So this particular dog story, you guys, I got my job back. A dog got me my job back. So mind you, I was working at the housing authority that we were talking about from the one with the boss with no toes. So because the department that I was working in was mainly ran by grants, that the grant, when it ran out, they had to kind of downsize. So remember, it was me and the cussing coworker. And so they eventually laid me off. They had to lay me off due to budget cuts. But they decided to let her stay because she had been there longer than I had. And so I got laid off. I think I may have got unemployment for a little bit of time. And then eventually I end up finding like a little job or whatever just to kind of get me through. But I always wanted to go back to the housing authority and resident services. So I told them, if a position ever becomes available that you need me back, feel free to give me a call. And they said, okay, fine, that's what we'll do, because I had a good rapport with them and everything. So one day I get a flyer in the mail from resident services. And normally when I worked there before, we would, like if there was like a resident council meeting or anything like that, we would make up flyers and then we would fold them up and we would mail them to like 5,000 residents. There's like 5,000 residents that get help from this housing authority. And if you needed transportation, then you had to call into the phone number. And I was a transportation coordinator. So you would call into the phone number and say, hey, I need transportation to come down to the meeting that you guys are having. So I get a flyer in the mail from resident services and I'm like, okay, what do they have going on now? And so I look at the flyer, and normally when you printed up the flyers, you will put on there contact so-and-so. So I used to put contact Sherry for transportation. And so when I looked at this particular flyer, I saw it said contact, and it was the cussing co-worker. It was her best friend's that was an intern one summer. Her name was on the flyer. And the first thing I'm thinking, how is she working there? Like, how is she working there? And so what I did was I ended up calling the Puerto Rican coworker that I had. He was super nice, and I still connected with him. And I said, I said, hey, Mr. So-and-so, how are you? He said, I'm fine. How are you, Shadi? Da, 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 da. And so I said, hey, I got this flyer about transportation or what have you. And I was like, how did so-and-so end up working there? And then he said, well, the cussing coworker found a permanent job. And they asked her, he said, we wanted to bring you back, but she suggested hiring her friend. So we took her suggestion and they hired her friend. And I'm like, oh, okay then. So lightweight, to be honest, I was kind of offended. And I said, well, okay, well, that's fine or whatever. And I said, well, if anything, comes about, let me know, because I really enjoyed the job. I said, let me, call me. He was like, okay, I'll keep you in mind or whatever. So I got off the phone and my feelings was kind of hurt. I was kind of offended. Like, why would you even ask her? Like you should have automatically brought me back because I was already in that role anyways. And I'm like, all right, whatever, that's bogus or what have you. And so I end up going like to church one day. No, I end up talking to my pastor on the phone. And we were just talking about whatever. And one thing about my pastor, she would blurt something out that was so random, but then it would happen and become true. And so she told me, she said, you're going to go back to that housing authority. And I said, how? I said, the position that I had, the girl took it. I said, they gave it to somebody else. She was like, I don't know. She was like, but you're going to go back. And I'm like, okay. Now, one thing I learned about her is whenever she said something, you could take it to the bank. Because if she said you're going to go back, you're going to go back. But I never knew how I was going to go back. And I didn't wait on going back because life still go on. I got bills. You feel me? I got bills and I ain't got time to be waiting on this housing authority job to come through or what have you. Okay? So some time goes by, some times go by. And there was a slight scandal at the housing authority. There's always something. That the maintenance men in one department, the maintenance men in one community, because this housing authority had like different communities. You had this community, that community, but it was all, low income. So it was brought to the attention of the property managers out there that the maintenance men out there was selling weed to the daggone, to selling weed to the residents out there. And so they had to do some investigation because it wasn't just one person that said that they were selling weed, but they had like a whole operation going on out in a certain community about weed selling, and it was from the maintenance people. And so remember I told you they were getting a new director at that particular time from the story before with my boss with the toes. They was getting a new director. So when the new directors come in, they like to do a clean sweep. They like to come through and clean up house and get rid of, get the 411 on everybody and get rid of some stuff. So because he was in position, he was like, okay, this is what we gonna do. And it was said that the maintenance people was keeping the weed in like the rental office. And some of them in there knew it. So he decides to had called the sheriff. The director called the sheriff and had the sheriff bring out drug dogs. Drug dogs. So the drug dogs came and they went all through the little office, sniffing. And they didn't find any weed. I don't know if the maintenance man that day may have took the weed and put it in his truck or whatever, but they didn't find anything. And that was out there in that community. So he decided, well, I'm not just going to stop with that community. Since I got the sheriff doing the sweep, then maybe we just need to sweep every building we got. And so they went from community to community with a drug dog, sniffing every and anything in the building. And they didn't find any weed in these different places. So they decided to bring the dogs down to the main campus. Mind you, nobody knew this was going on. And he didn't do it every single day, because if you do it in one community, then you're going to, if I do it the same day, you're going to call your friend over at the other community and be like, girl, they got the drug sniffing dogs. Whatever y'all got going on, you better clean up. So he broke it up that you didn't know when the sheriff was going to come with the dogs. So this particular day, the sheriff came with the dogs and he came down to the main campus. So the dog went through the one building. Now, mind you, remember I said it was 3 buildings on that campus. Went to the one building, sniff, didn't find none. Went to the second building, sniff, didn't find none. Come to the building where the girl that sent the flyer out to me, sniff. Went over there by her desk, sniff. Didn't find nothing. And so they were going to leave, and the director, out the blue, says, let the dogs run in the parking lot. Ooh. Sniff, sniffing the cars. Sniff. Didn't find a sniff. Got to her car. Sniff. Bow, wow. I don't know that's how he barked, but he was barking. Woo. It was a German Shepherd. Somebody woo. Who car is this? Let's go in the building to find out who called, because the dog is barking and he ain't letting up. So they go in, they say, who car is this? Out in the parking lot. Mind you, when you park your car on company ground, they got the right to check your car. So they told her, they said, the dog barking at your car. Come on outside. Open up your car. She, ain't nothing in my car. Open up the car. Burr, 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 burr. He over there by the daggone ashtray thingy. It's a roach in her car. She claimed her boyfriend left it. Could have been. But that's your car. And you got weed in your car. So they told my Puerto Rican boss, my Puerto Rican co-worker, and the lady with no toes, she got to go. She got drugs on our property. Got to go. So guess who got a phone call? 2 days after that, from the Puerto Rican co-worker. Hey, Shadi, how's it going? I never forget, I was at like a craft show or something. Walking around a craft show. It was around the holiday time, and I'm trying to pick out like some little homemade gifts or whatever, handcrafted gifts. Hey, Shadi, how are you? Hey, Mr. So-and-so, what's going on? Nothing much. What are you doing? I said, I'm over here at this craft show. What's up? Oh, it's very, very bad. Very, very bad. I said, it's what? Oh, very bad, Sherry. Very bad. Let me ask you this. Do you want to come back? I said, well, I thought so-and-so was in that position. Oh, Sherry, we tell you when you come down here, it's very, very bad. Not good. Not looking good at all. I said, well, I am available for work. He said, come down. When can you come down? I said, well, I ain't doing nothing tomorrow. Come down. We tell you everything that go on there. Oh, it's very, very bad. We had to let her go. So I end up making the appointment to come down there tomorrow. Went down there the next day. Sat there and talked to her. I said, what happened? And he told me the situation with the dog. I said, hot doggy. That lady did say I was going to get my job back. I said, look at it. Oh, Jesus is using dogs, y'all. I called my pastor. I said, guess what, girl? She said, what? I said, I'm going back down there. She said, what happened? I said, girl, Jesus done got a dog to give me my job back. So I got my job back by a drug sniffing dog. I went down there and worked for like 7-8 months or so after that. And honey, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I worked 7-8 months, and then after that, they phased out. That's the part where they phased out everybody's job after that. And so when they phased out, but they left the Puerto Rican man. But the boss, she had to go, and he's running that department, and then everybody else had to go. So he don't have no staff. He runs the department, but ain't no department to really run for real. But they still kept him down there. So that is my dog story. I love a dog, honey. A dog got me my job back, and I did that for 7-8 months after that, and I was super happy. I was super happy about it. So y'all, you guys, thanks for listening for story time. The next story I think I'm going to tell, Tracy got in trouble again, y'all. Messing with the boys. And this one, honey, the paramedics got called. You guys go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Leave me something down in the comments down there. Whatever you want to do. Have a great day, and I will see you guys once again with another story time on this coming Wednesday. All right. Have a great one.